Ryan is on one end of the love spectrum, and I am on the opposite end of the love spectrum. So remember, Paul is not talking about intimacy and romance. Any relationship that you have, working relationship, friendship relationship, anything that involves acceptance and love, this is where Paul is going after. Paul says, in the economy of Christ, we must always work to go center. Because at the center is God. At the center is love. At the center is acceptance. But what happens often in loving relationships is we don't practice patience. We want to pull and drag people towards our position, towards our opinion, towards our will. So Ryan, would you pull me and drag me towards you? And so although Ryan knows the best place for us is in the center, it's more convenient for him to stay where he is and make me shift where I am so that he can remain comfortable and in his position. And what happens is, I say, well, if Ryan did it to me, I'm going to do it to Ryan. Some of this looks like your relationship. Just say amen. I remember 2 years ago, you didn't have time for me. You didn't accept me. I want you to come now to me. And now you're going to see what it feels like. And here's what's crazy. We talk crazy and we think crazy because we say, if Ryan can only get on the program, if Ryan can only come to my side, if my husband would only do what I tell him to do and quit trying to be his own man, he would really realize that my way is the best way and this marriage would be a lot happier, not if we were in the center, but if you were on my position and my turf. But here's the craziness. The stuff that Ryan had over there didn't change because he came over here. The stuff he had over there now just came over here. So I was unhappy once, and I'm still unhappy. Why? Because now we got the same mess we had when we were separate. All right, go back over there, Ryan. And so Paul says love is what?
Patience.
And love is what?
Kind.
So the tendency of the human nature is to pull and to drag. Love, at its very best, draws you to the center. So this is what it looks like. Step by step and motion by motion, we're drawing closer to each other and we're drawing closer to the center. Now this is make-believe Sunday morning. It doesn't happen this fast. That's why Paul says you got to be what?
Patient.
This is the way it really looks. You're one. You ever sit next to somebody and they're doing that and they think you're spiritual, you're just mad as hell. Man, that brother is deep. Golly, he love the Lord. I'm cussing Ryan out under my breath. Year two, and then I start watching him. If he moves a little bit, I'm going to move. Okay. He hadn't moved. I'm going to say, okay. All right. All right. And here's what hurts so much. You take 4 steps and you go back 2. And the 2 steps that you go back doesn't represent 2 or 3 months. It represents 3 or 4 years. And watch this, Ryan. Here's why Paul says you need kindness. Because the closer we get to each other, the clearer I'm reminded of the hell you put me through. Because see, when I was on my edge, I wasn't as clear and I could forget the stuff you did. But the closer we get to each other, the more I need kindness. And the more I forgive him, I gotta forgive myself. The more I'm patient with him, I gotta be patient with myself. And here, Ryan, is what happens when we finally make it to the center. Here's the grace of God. The love and the grace of God begins to overshadow and overcome our individuality. And what becomes the main thing is God. What becomes the minor are our differences and what we've done to each other or what we haven't done for each other. Now, here's what we learn about relationships. And oftentimes, in particular, when people get married, they enter in this false idealistic pattern of thinking that the relationship is always going to be 50-50. If you've been married more than 2 days and you know it is not always 50-50, please say amen in this place. Sometimes it's 20-80. Sometimes it's 5% and 95%. And what happens in relationships is one party decides to mature. One party decides to forgive. And watch this, comes closer to the center. So while you're at the center, I was headed that way. But something happened. And I got caught up. And I never got untangled. And I never got untied. And I never got free. And when I made it to the center, I was in the center, Ryan, but I wasn't free. You know some people who are in the right place, but they're really not free?
Yeah.
Because along the way, I didn't do the hard work that I was supposed to do of patience, kindness, forgiveness, forgetting, so that when we made it to the center, we were both there. God bless you. Thank you, brother.